All right, let's jump right in. We're diving deep into the Europa League playoff round this time. You've sent us previews for 7 huge matches.
Yeah, so we're going to break it all down for you.
Help you guys become UEL experts.
Exactly. Playoffs are always exciting. High-stakes football.
Absolutely. Like every team wants a spot in that round of 16.
For sure.
We've got previews for, let's see, we've got Midtjylland versus Real Sociedad.
Oh, yeah.
Royale Union Saint-Gilloise versus Ajax. AZ Alkmaar versus Galatasaray.
Mhm.
Porto versus Roma. PAOK versus FCSB. And 20 versus Bodø/Glimt.
Wow.
So, lots to unpack. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with Midtjylland taking on Real Sociedad. I think it's a classic David versus Goliath
Oh, yeah.
kind of a story there, right? With the Danish side going up against a team with a lot of European experience.
Real Sociedad, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of experience, Midtjylland has had a break from their domestic league recently.
Interesting.
So they've really been able to focus on this UAL clash. But historically, they've been a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, their history in the knockout stages is a bit spotty.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Danish teams, well, they have a pretty bad record against Spanish teams.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Historically, yeah, it's not a great matchup for them, statistically speaking.
So it seems like they've got a lot to overcome. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, Real Sociedad has been pretty busy themselves, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They've been juggling a busy schedule. And while they've had some big wins recently, those have all been at home.
At home, yeah.
Their away form hasn't been quite as convincing.
That's a great point, actually. Their away record is definitely something to watch.
Okay.
And Real Sociedad's last victory in a major European knockout game, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
1998.
1998. Wow.
It's been a while.
That's a long time.
Over 20 years.
Yeah. You'd think they would have, I don't know, gotten over that hump, at some point.
Yeah, you'd think a club of their size and stature. What do you think? Why do you think they've struggled in the knockouts?
I don't know. I mean, they've certainly been successful domestically. Maybe it's like a mental block, The pressure of the European stage gets to them.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the year they finally break through.
Maybe. We'll see. Now, in terms of players to watch in this matchup, for Midtjylland, Ousmane Diaw, he's a defender, and he's been scoring early in their recent home games.
Oh, okay.
So keep an eye on him. And then for Real Sociedad, Brasnendes, he's looking for his 3rd consecutive goal.
Okay.
So both players in good form.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Now, here's a fascinating stat about Midtjylland. They've received the fewest yellow cards in the competition so far.
Really? Wow.
What do you make of that?
That's interesting. That speaks to discipline. I mean, composure on the pitch. And in a knockout tie where everything matters, every little detail, that could be a real advantage.
For sure. All right, let's move on to another intriguing matchup. Royale Union Saint-Gilloise versus Ajax. Royale Union, they've been, on fire recently. Racking up the wins, getting that valuable experience in European knockout rounds.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's a curious trend, isn't there? They seem to struggle to win the first leg of knockout ties.
Consistently. Yeah, it's almost like they like to do things the hard way.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah.
So that makes this first leg, even more crucial, right?
Absolutely. Can they buck the trend? Can they set themselves up for a comfortable second leg? That's a big question.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, on the other side, we've got Ajax, and they absolutely dominated the group stage.
Oh, yeah.
They've been looking very, very strong. Plus, historically, they have this fantastic record against Belgian teams.
That's right. But here's the thing. They've also struggled a little bit in the later stages of European competitions in recent years.
Yeah, they've kind of stumbled a bit in those deeper rounds, which makes this, I don't know, even more interesting.
Oh, for sure.
Can they overcome those recent setbacks?
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Now, key players for Royale Union, Mohamed Husseini. He has a knack for scoring the first goal in games.
Okay.
And for Ajax, Kenneth Taylor, he's been racking up impactful goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him.
So, are we sensing a potential high-scoring affair here? Because, Royale Union's home games, both teams have scored more often than not.
I think you might be right. Both teams have a lot of attacking talent, and neither team is afraid to send players forward.
Yeah. This one could be a real goal fest.
It could be.
Okay, let's shift our focus now to AZ Alkmaar versus Galatasaray. AZ, they're coming off of a tough loss, but it seems like they're bouncing back.
Okay.
They've got some positive momentum.
Yeah, resilience is so important in these knockout rounds. They've got to carry that momentum into this match.
Absolutely. Now, they've had some success against Turkish teams at home, haven't they?
Yeah.
They drew with Galatasaray in a previous encounter. They even beat Fenerbahce.
Okay.
And they've got this pretty impressive unbeaten streak going at home in the UL.
Yeah, they've been strong at home.
Yeah. Now, Galatasaray, they had a fantastic group stage, didn't they?
Uh-huh.
very few losses. High-scoring offense. They were, clinical.
Ruthless.
Yes, ruthless.
Absolutely.
But, there's always but in football, their away record in continental competitions is not as impressive.
Yeah. A very different story on the road.
It's a very different story, yeah.
Particularly against Dutch teams, too.
Okay.
They haven't had a lot of success there.
So we got AZ with their home dominance,
Mm-hmm.
Galatasaray with their potent attack.
Right.
Something's got to give.
Yeah, clash of styles.
Yeah, clash of style.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fascinating to see how those contrasting styles play out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, for AZ, keeps an eye on Sven Mendens. He's been scoring those crucial late goals. And for Galatasaray, Alvaro Morata, I mean, he's their danger man. He can get his team off to a fast start.
Oh, yeah.
So those are two to watch. And if you like high-scoring, edge-of-your-seat thrillers,
Yeah.
Galatasaray's the team for you.
That's right.
Their matches tend to be goal fests. Both teams usually find the net.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to another exciting matchup, Porto versus Roma.
Okay.
Porto, they've been going through a bit of a rough patch domestically,
Yeah.
but they did manage to get a crucial win to secure their spot in these playoffs.
Well, they had to dig deep, but they got it done. It shows a lot of determination.
For sure. They're a proud club.
Oh, yeah.
Long history of making deep runs in these European competitions.
Absolutely.
And historically, they have a pretty good record against Roma.
That's right, in previous knockout ties, yeah.
But there's a twist. Their overall record in recent European knockout games,
Uh-oh.
not great.
Okay.
So we'll see. Past performance isn't always an indicator, but it does add a little bit of unpredictability to this tie.
Oh, for sure.
Now, Roma, they've been in great form.
Yeah.
Under Claudio Ranieri, they're on an unbeaten run
They are.
in Serie A.
Yeah.
But in football, their away record in the UL,
Not good.
dismal. They have really struggled to win outside of Italy.
Away games in Europe, man. It's a different beast altogether.
Totally different beast.
Yeah. The travel, the hostile crowds, being out of your comfort zone.
It takes a toll.
It does.
And to make things even more interesting, Ranieri himself doesn't have a great record in European knockout matches.
Oh, no.
He's lost all 3 of his previous matches at this stage, and by the same 3-2 scoreline.
3-2 defeats? Wow.
I know.
That's a stat.
It's an incredible stat. Maybe there's some psychological thing going on there.
It makes you wonder, yeah.
The pressure gets to his teams. They start taking more risks.
Yeah.
Things backfire.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, in terms of players, for Porto, Samu, he's their leading scorer, but he's been in a bit of a slump recently.
Okay.
For Roma, keep an eye on Artem Dovbyk.
Yeah.
His goals often lead to both teams scoring. He's like,
Box of fireworks.
yeah, box of fireworks.
I like it.
So we'll see.
Oh.
We'll see how those attacking players perform under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about Porto and Roma,
Mm-hmm.
two teams with contrasting form and European pedigrees, you could say. I mean, it's these kinds of clashes that make these Royale playoffs so unpredictable.
It really is. You got styles, ambitions. You just never know which team's narrative is going to win out. You know, it's exciting.
All right, let's move on to another matchup that I think is going to be full of drama. PAOK taking on FCSB.
Ooh, this is a rematch from the group stage. Remember, FCSB beat PAOK on their home turf, so you know there's a little bit of revenge on the minds of the Greek side.
A little bit of a score to settle.
For sure.
But there's another layer here, right? PAOK's, they're behind in their domestic league.
Right.
Do you think that might change how they approach this European tie?
It's possible, yeah. You know, if they feel like their chances of winning the league are slipping away, they might go all in on the Europa League.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's a tough decision a lot of clubs face at this point in the season.
Totally. But here's the thing that jumped out at me. PAOK has never won a UL knockout match.
Oh, wow.
In 8 tries.
8? Really?
Yeah,
That's got to weigh on them a little bit.
it's a pretty daunting statistic. But I guess, records are made to be broken, right?
That's the spirit. In football, you never know. This could be the year they turn it around.
It could be their year. Now, their opponents, FTSB, they haven't had a lot of success in away European knockout matches.
Historically, no.
But their away form in the group stage this year was pretty good.
Yeah, they were impressive on the road.
Yeah, so they're not afraid to travel.
Seems like they can adapt. It makes them dangerous, especially if PAOK underestimates them.
Oh, for sure. Now, looking at players who could make a difference. For PAOK, it's got to be Tyson. He's been scoring goals consistently in European competition.
Okay, yeah, Tyson, he's a veteran, brings that leadership, could be exactly what they need in these pressure-packed games.
Absolutely. And for FCSB, Daniel Berlazea,
Okay.
he's got a pretty cool stat. Every goal he scores, his team wins.
Oh, wow. All right. Talk about a good luck charm.
He's a talisman.
Yeah, if PAOK doesn't shut him down, they could be in trouble.
Yeah. One more thing about FCSB. Most of their recent UEL matches have been, well, low scoring.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what do you think tactically? How do you see this one playing out?
Well, if FCSB has been tight at the back and PAOK wants to avoid conceding early, I think we might see a pretty cagey affair.
Okay.
Both teams will probably focus on defense, wait for a set piece or a counterattack. Real tactical battle.
It sounds like it'll be a chess match.
It could be.
All right, let's move on to 20 versus Bodø/Glimt. We talked about 20's success against Norwegian teams in the past.
Right.
But, they just barely got into these playoffs.
Yeah.
Their home record hasn't been great lately.
Yeah, that's true. These knockout rounds, it's a different animal.
It is.
They're going to need to step up their game.
Big time.
Yeah.
They can't just rely on past performance. Now, Bodø/Glimt, they're in a really interesting situation.
Oh, yeah.
Their domestic league is in the off-season.
Right.
So they could put all their focus on this UEL campaign.
I mean, that's huge. No distractions. They can prioritize recovery, prepare properly.
Yeah, it almost feels like an unfair advantage.
It kind of does, but hey, they earned their spot. They made history by getting to the knockout stage.
That's true.
And their manager, Kjetil Knutsen, he's got a knack for upsetting the big clubs.
He does.
Yeah, he's a smart tactician, seems to love being the underdog.
He does.
It gets his teams to believe, play without fear. It makes them really tough to beat.
Yeah. So they're not going to be intimidated by 20, that's for sure.
No way.
In terms of key players, for 20, it's Dane Rotz. They'll be hoping he keeps scoring goals in Europe. He's been super important for them.
Makes sense. And for Bodø/Glimt.
Holkenev.
Okay.
He can change a game in an instant, scores early goals, puts his team in control.
I like it. Dangerous player.
Yeah. And we can't forget about that stat, the one about 20's matches against Norwegian teams at home.
Oh, right.
All three of them were 1-0 at halftime.
Yeah, I remember.
20 won 2 of those, both ending 2-wheel.
Huh. Okay.
So, I mean, is that just a coincidence, or is there something about how 20 plays against Norwegian teams that leads to that scoreline?
Well, it's a good question. Maybe they sit back early, absorb pressure, and then hit on the counter. I don't know.
We'll have to see how it unfolds. But that's what makes these knockout rounds so fun, right? The blend of history, tactics, individual talent, and just the unpredictable nature of the game.
Absolutely. It's all there.
Yeah.
It's great.
So we've talked about a lot of specific matchups, but before we wrap up, I'm curious, what about some of the bigger trends you're seeing? Like tactically, any interesting narratives emerging from these playoffs?
Well, one thing that's really stood out to me is the rise of attacking football.
Oh, okay.
You're seeing a lot more teams playing aggressively.
Okay.
High pressing, quick transitions, just constant attacking.
Yeah, it's a far cry from, the old days when teams would just park the bus in the knockout rounds.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a different game now. Possession-based football, attacking flair, those are the things that are valued even in these high-pressure games.
And it makes for a much more exciting, spectacle for us fans.
Yeah, for sure. Nobody wants to watch a boring defensive game.
No, not at all.
Another thing I've noticed is all these young players
Oh, yeah.
coming up, making a name for themselves in Europe.
It's been amazing to watch.
It really has. They're fearless, they've got skills, and they're hungry to prove they belong at this level.
Yeah, they're bringing this whole new energy to the competition.
Absolutely. It's like watching the future of football unfold.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, I can't forget about the underdogs. Are there any teams that are really exceeding expectations, punching above their weight?
Oh, always. The Europa League is full of surprises.
Yeah.
We've got teams from smaller leagues, proving they can compete with the big boys.
I love that about the Europa League. It's like a true mix of styles, cultures.
Yeah, it's a celebration of the global game.
It really is.
Absolutely.
Okay, before we go, I got to go back to those stats we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yeah. Those were fun.
Those little historical quirks, they add a whole other layer of intrigue.
It's true.
I mean, will Michelin keep their disciplinary record going? Will Peo finally break through in a knockout round?
Yeah.
I mean, we can speculate all day long, but ultimately, football has a way of surprising us.
It always does. That's the beauty of it. The drama, the tension.
Exactly.
We can never predict what's going to happen.
And that's why we love it.
That's right.
Well, it's been a pleasure breaking down these UEL playoffs with you. Hopefully our listeners are feeling a little more prepared for all the action.
Me too. I hope everyone enjoys these games. It's going to be wild.
Absolutely. To all our listeners out there, get ready for the unexpected. Enjoy the moments of brilliance. Remember, anything can happen in the Europa League.
That's right. We'll be back soon with another deep dive. Until then, enjoy the beautiful